Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to Midnight. It's my pleasure to be with you here tonight. The following program contains my own opinions, at which I arrive through careful consideration of available facts, plus a dash of my own insight. If you hear someone else say things that are in line with what I say, take a moment to congratulate them for figuring out the correct answer on their own. If you were offended by opinions that were not cut and pasted from Huffington Post or Salon.com, you may want to click to another video right now because I have a heavy topic for you today. Lately, I've seen a lot of material on rape culture. People on Facebook have posted articles on the subject, all of which have this one underlying idea. If you're a man, you're automatically guilty. If you have a penis, you have no right to speak. Women who have been stared at or even spoken to by a male are equated with those who have been sexually assaulted or harassed. And you as a man are totally responsible, even if you have no idea who's accusing you. Now, normally, I would reread these articles listing point by point what the writers got wrong, and post a counter-article refuting each fundamentally flawed topic by explaining what the writers are wrong about, with supporting arguments proving that the original writer's underlying idea was either invalid or untrue, or so utterly ridiculous so as to defy belief. But I've read the responses when other more solidly established writers and commentators tried this, and I saw that there was no way anyone could hope to reason with this particular strain of mutant neo-feminism. Their responses were so venomous and hate-filled that even when presented with absolute proof that their reasoning was rooted only in fantasy, they would not respond to the point, but throw out more accusations. Clearly, this is an enemy that cannot be reasoned with. I believe that this is because they know they're wrong and they don't care. Their aim is not to solve a very real problem involving disconnection between the sexes, but rather to alienate men and women from each other, to inflame the anger of women and put all men on the defensive by indicting all men for the crimes of a few, and redefining words from what they are to what they are not. In this way, the woman is cast as a perpetual victim, while man is the perpetual villain. Picture a boot stamping on a human face for all eternity. That's fine for the George Soroses and Valerie Jarretts and Hillary Clintons of the day, but I will not stand by while those of their ilk infect the minds of well-meaning Americans with their contagion. So while I preach to you, the choir, I need you in the audience to carry these ideas out to people who are currently being seduced by this cultural poison. All of leftist politics centers around demonization of one class and victimization of the other. This specific lie is made very plausible by deliberately confusing the very real culture of women's objectification with the false rape culture that these social engineers have invented. Women are pressured in our culture to be attractive to men. Men, on the other hand, are conditioned to be persistent in their pursuit of women they find attractive. A woman's worth in our media is purported to be in her youth and beauty, not in her strength and honor. It's not blatantly published that all women are indiscriminately seeking sexual attention from men. Rather, this perception is subtly introduced and encouraged non-verbally. Advertisers show women skimpy bits of clothing and say, "Wear this. This is attractive." Men who see them personalize that message. "I look good" becomes "I am interested in you." When she rejects unwelcome attention, unconscious feelings of insult and resentment are generated on both sides. Thus, the ground is laid for further alienation. To begin to repair this divide, we must first define the terms we are using. First off, rape and culture are words that have a concrete meaning. Merriam-Webster Online defines rape as unlawful sexual activity and usually sexual intercourse carried out forcibly or under threat of injury against the will usually of a female, not always but usually, or with a person who is beneath a certain age or incapable of valid consent. Now, culture has many definitions, too long to list here, but the most relevant one is characteristic features of everyday existence as diversions or way of life shared by people in a place or time. Rape culture logically would then be defined as a culture, a system of shared customs and beliefs that is based on rape, its practice, its justification, or even its mandate. Marshall University Women's Center's website defines it as an environment in which rape is prevalent, in which sexual violence against women is normalized and excused in the media and popular culture. Now, there are places on earth where such cultures do exist. mainly in Muslim-dominated countries and in prison. The proponents of this theory, however, maintain that American culture is rape culture, and places where rape is actually justified and encouraged, they're completely irrelevant. Now, this theory, this belief, is the biggest crock I have heard of so far. For those of you who may be able to rescue someone from believing and perpetuating this nonsense, and consequently depriving themselves of credibility, this is where our rape culture narrative gets it wrong. Number one, trivializing the obvious. The rape culture narrative sets at naught the fact that men and women are biologically different, that men and women will notice and act upon these differences. In the narrative, all humanity is lost, and we are divided into two groups, potential rapists and future victims. We become two-dimensional cardboard cutouts of who we really are. This is the core stupidity of the narrative. We lose moral agency and become cartoon characters. Two, blanket condemnation of all men. If you are a man, you are part of rape culture. This ignorant postulation begins A Gentleman's Guide to Rape Culture by Zarin Burnett. By casting all men as part of this rape culture crap, responsibility is taken from where it belongs, the rapist, and put on all men. While Mr. Burnett tries to articulate a sense of common responsibility, he abets the idea that the primary function of men is to participate in this rape culture whether or not they have actually raped someone. 3. Deflecting of responsibility. In a rape, there is only one person responsible, the rapist. Not the victim, not society, not the entertainment industry, and not the devil. A man is a moral agent, capable of deciding what is right and what is wrong. Rape doesn't happen by accident. It is a willful act of violence perpetuated on another person. 4, and this leads to number 4, abetting the rapist. There is only a small leap from, if you're a man, you're part of rape culture, to, I couldn't help raping that girl, I'm a man, I'm a part of rape culture. In addition, not only does this preposterous theory absolve the rapist from sole blame for his crime, it also mandates a blanket denial of women the freedom to resist a rape. Rape culture apologists lose their minds whenever somebody actually tries to solve the problem. She shouldn't have to defend herself. We should tell men not to rape. You jackass, we already do tell men not to rape. Rapists generally know that rape is wrong. They know the woman in question does not want to have sex voluntarily. They know that forcing her into sex is illegal, and they know they will face penalties if she presses charges. That's why most rapists try to intimidate their victims into silence. They want their victims to be powerless. But just because someone is a woman doesn't mean she needs to be powerless. She need not be a victim. Contrary to the left's ideas, mere victimhood does not confer moral infallibility. Number 5, intimidation of problem solvers. One of the left's favorite tactics when faced with someone who can identify the flaws in their mindset and begin to solve the problem described is to accuse the problem solver of blaming the victim. This is one of the most intellectually dishonest and downright shameful tools in their bag. Nothing will upset a rape culture theorist more than when someone suggests, well, we should encourage girls to learn self-defense, to carry and use weapons, to dress a little more modestly. You're blaming the victim, comes the self-righteous shriek from atop the high horse. No, you twit. I'm suggesting ways of avoiding becoming a victim. The completely unhinged reaction triggered by these options suggests that the loss of victimhood offends these lunatics more than the idea of rape itself. And I am fascinated by the utter hostility the proponents have to any course of action that may solve the problem. This is because their mindset dictates that victimhood is essential to moral superiority. Any action a girl may take which gives her the opportunity to not get raped, like the aforementioned self-defense and weapons training, concealed carry, even the mere idea to resist and not be a victim, deprives her of the morally superior position of victimhood. Without this superiority of victimhood in play, the accused class, men who are not rapists nor accessory to rape, in other words, cannot be silenced and may defend themselves. This silence, this consent of the accused is vital to the accuser, since the accusation has no credibility and any competent defense will expose this. To maintain superiority, the left demand that a woman surrender her power to act and remain eternally the victim. Now, one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who shows how utterly asinine this narrative is. In the episode The Satan Pit, the Doctor faces a dilemma. He must kill a demonic presence to prevent its escape into the universe, but doing so will kill his companion, Rose. And his resolution is beautiful. He says, but that implies, in this big grand scheme of gods and devils, that she's just a victim. But if I believe in one thing, just one thing, I believe in her. And he kills the demon, and Rose saves her own life and the lives of those she's with. So if I were to sum up, I would say that I don't believe in this leftist rape culture crap. I don't believe in it because I believe in those women who choose to craft their own destinies, build their own fates, and save their own lives. I believe that there is more to women than this generic two-dimensional victimhood. Women have power and the ability to choose to resist. The ability to pick up a skillet or a rifle or a sword and declare to all who will hear, I will claim what is mine by fire and blood. These are not the words of the left's model victim, but of the warrior queen who resides within the hearts of all women. I'm Lane Russell, and you've been watching Midnight.